Yeah, so people are still joining, but we can start.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So, hello all. I think you all are safe. I am Jadupati Nag. I am the convener of Research Scholars Forum, IIT Bombay. Welcome back to our second talk of post PhD career opportunities series. For this webinar, we have Professor Pradeep Kalbar, who is an assistant professor from the Center of Urban Science and Engineering and associate faculty in climate studies, IIT Bombay, with us. Before I give the space to Professor, my instructions to all the participants, please. So whenever you will ask the question, at that time mute only, unmute only, and because it will reduce the background noise. And if you want to ask question, please you can ask in chat box, as well as you can raise the hand like last time. We will take your question, and your question will be given to the speaker. And with this, let me introduce Professor Pradeep Kalbar. It's a great pleasure to have him as the second speaker of this series. Professor Kalbar has received his PhD from Center for Environmental Science and Engineering, CESE, IIT Bombay in 2008. He served as the technical head, water and wastewater, synergy engineering and environmental solutions, India till 2014. Then he moved to Department of Management Engineering, Technical University of Denmark, DTU, in 2014 as a postdoctoral fellow. The postdoctoral fellowship was awarded under H.C. Orsted Postdoc Fellowship Program, co-founded by Marie Curie Access Program of EU. He has joined IIT Bombay as an assistant professor in the CUSE department, and since he has been there, his area of research includes water supply, wastewater treatment, life cycle assessment, circular economy, and climate change mitigation. Also, he is a member of the Technical Advisory Committee for Water Supply of Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai and member of the International Water Association Specialist Group on Intermittent Water Supply. He also has wide industrial and consulting experiences in the area of water sector, urban waste management, and environmental sustainability. Today, he is going to talk about post-PhD career opportunities. Sir, I'm giving to you, and thank you very much for joining and accepting our invitation. You can start, sir.
Thank you, Jadupati, and thanks Research Scholar Forum for having me here. Because I was one of the member of RSF doing when I was in PhD program. So it is a great pleasure to connect back to this community. So I will share my experience about what are the options, how to plan for that after doing PhD, what is the right time for approaching for the postdoc. So, and then we'll have some open discussion. So I'll just present whatever ideas I could collect when I received this invitation. And after that, we may have the open discussion. So I'll just share my screen. Can you allow me to share the screen?
Someone please check.
Because it is saying you cannot start the screen because
Okay,
somebody.
I think you have to make post. So let me just
because
check.
Yeah, this screen you have to turn off. This particular poster.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So Suman, can you hear? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Suman, can you hear? Hello. Sorry, sir. Just a minute. I think some technical problem. Yeah.
You can message him maybe.
Yeah. Sorry, sir. I think it's taking time. I'm really sorry. Just
No problem. No problem. Take. It
yeah, yeah.
happens.
I'm
Don't
saying
worry. Don't worry.
yeah, yeah.
So in the meantime, I'll just pose one question, and in the chat box, students can answer because my first slide is about question. Why PhD? So students can answer in chat box. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now I can share the screen,
Okay, okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah. So the question I posed is why PhD, and we are already getting the answers, various answers, because to transform from PhD to post PhD, first you have to understand why you are in PhD, and if this answer is not known, then maybe we have to think. Uh, you can have the next time this session. So various answers that I can read from here is for improving. What are the answers? To deliver deeper into favorite topics, to carry out independent collaborative research. Yeah, so these kind of answers are there to become a research facility, to be a faculty. So from my side, if I have to answer this question, is to yes, you have to be to do research, but it's also an opportunity to transform yourself. Means if you compare yourself before PhD and after PhD, it's not only the research field that you have contributed. It is how you have transformed yourself, and PhD is a transforming degree. It's not just you get a degree and you get some academic credit, but it transforms yourself and prepared for your whole life. And as I always say, it's not that you get a PhD and that's all. It's more tough when you go out and you have to defend your PhD whole lifetime, because people will expect some more responsible answers when you go outside, and you should be prepared. So uh, I think your job becomes difficult when you have a PhD, specifically from reputed institutes like IITs, and you go out and give your opinion, give your talk. People will expect more responsible answers and more specific knowledge. So it's really a transformative degree. And if you want to, if you have really enjoyed, then you can really think of going further. So in this talk, let us discuss what will happen to you after post PhD and what are the options for that. So so what are the postdoc expectation? First, we have to understand if you are applying a postdoc, what are the expectation for a postdoc? For example, if now I want to have a postdoc, what I will expect, and the expectations may vary depending on what kind of postdoc you are going to jump in. For example, first and prime most important difference between a PhD and postdoc is a proactiveness. In PhD, you may be getting a little bit of spoon feeding that is not actually uh, expected, but and we end up doing a lot of giving a lot of things to the student, and then over supervising, and you get some decent amount of supervision time. In postdoc, you are not expected to get any supervision. You are on your own, and actually you are helping the faculty under which you are hosted. So your proactiveness is the number one um, uh, key, or the expectation from you, that you do everything on your own. There is nobody to supervise. There is nothing that can the supervisor will not pursue you behind. People will not have time. They have PhD students and other things. So proactiveness is number one thing. Then you have to be collaborative. In PhD you may be really specific to your topic. For postdoc is a really opportunity where you expand your scope, collaborate in across department in the university or across university, talk to your supervisor, show that you want to be a collaborative, and depending on the supervisor response, decide in what direction you want to take your collaboration. uh, Means I can tell you example from my side. When I went for a postdoc in Denmark, my topic was defined, but apart from that topic, whenever we had some conference meeting, some guest visiting, I used to discuss collaboration with that person, definitely by informing my supervisor. And then we had more research outcome because I collaborated to many other people. So once you establish that kind of relationship with your supervisor, then collaboration will help your supervisor as well and your career as well. Because out of that whatever publications I had from postdoc, 30 to 40% were from collaboration that were not planned before, when I started the postdoc. That emerged in this time period when I was having my postdoc fellowship. uh, Here, you have to define your research problem yourself. In PhD, your supervisor will help you to define, distill out your research problem. Here you are expected to define your problem yourself, and so make sure that that skill you develop, that analytical skill that you develop, to if your supervisor says, can you define a research problem for some proposal, then you have to be little bit analytical and come up with the concrete research idea and show it to your supervisor. uh, Doing all work by yourself, and there is no one that your postdoc is a really position where uh, you are working for yourself, but more than yourself, you are working for the entire group, uh, department where you are hosted. And there may be some teaching assignment depending on the type of fellowship, but teaching itself is a useful. If you want to become a faculty, get involved in the teaching. That's ideal. So proactively go and talk to your supervisor. Oh, I want to teach in your course. I have this particular module, can I deliver it? That will help you to build your teaching skills, to write it in CV that you teach this particular module in the course. Writing manuscript on your own, that is another. Submitting it to journal. Now you will be the corresponding author, you will be the first and corresponding author, so you have to learn that entire process and execute on your own. In Ideally, postdocs are expected to manage the entire group, you know. So the supervisor may have 2 3 research areas, and each research area he would like to have one postdoc who will be coordinating everything. So he will just talk to the postdoc, and uh, postdoc will manage the entire research group. So develop that ability. That human skill is very important, that you can work with different kind of people, different with different attitudes, get the work done. More you are able to do this, and in different culture. I mean, if you go for international postdoc, you have to work with different kinds of people coming from different cultures. So you have to be a person who can work with multicultural people, to be collaborative and to manage the research group. And definitely master students, PhD students, you have to supervise. You will be a co-supervisor to them. That is ideal in most of the universities. So and writing proposals for you and others, because your life is, you have one postdoc in hand, but what will happen after 1 year or 2 year if you still want to continue as a postdoc? Or your supervisor may ask, oh, can you write a proposal for funding? Don't think whether it is for you or for whom. It is experience that matters in postdoc. So just jump on the opportunity. Even if you're helping up your supervisor, and that particular experience will be helpful for you to building the how to write proposals, what are the, because writing a research publication and writing a funding proposal are two different things. There are different criteria to evaluate those. So you learn something, because if you have to be a successful faculty, you should know what is the good funding proposal as well. Okay. So final remark, don't overdo. And you will what will happen is, you may show a very proactive or collaborative nature, but and you end up sharing some research ideas which should not be shared out of the group. So you have to be really show the sensibility, maturity, that what to share with the collaborators, what not to share with the collaborators, and when and how. So these qualities will define a really qualified postdoc. And I think if you have any other questions on this, we can discuss. But this is what came to my mind based on my experience. What are the requirements to get a postdoc position? That is another question that you might be having. So in general, not too many publications. If there, it's fine, but at least go 2 3 good quality publications, in your field of research. Means whatever are reputed journals in your discipline, if you have 2 3, means one is not bad, but two is always decent. But this is the optimal number, not less, not more than that. And if you have, then you are really qualified to apply for postdoc. You can apply, but again, it varies from field to field. Some disciplines may take time for publishing, some disciplines may get more publications expected. I'm telling from my experience an optimal number. This shows, and these are the first author from your PhD. Okay, these are not like something that are coming to you from some other collaboration, but these are from your PhD, as you as a first author. uh, some international exposure, such as projects on participation in conference, because if you are in international university, uh, the entire research group will be diverse. So little bit the people from international university will expect some international exposure, how to talk with a different culture, as I said. So if your supervisor has some projects, international projects, jump on it, work on it, try to set up some relationship with different culture of people. That will help you in talking to people when you join some university. Good writing and oral skills, what kind of email you send to your proposed supervisor, what kind of cover letter, what kind of, some postdoc fellowships require you to prepare your proposal. So what kind of writing and oral skills you have needs to be demonstrated. And strong recommendation letters from the supervisor or supervisors if you have a co-supervisor. And what happens, the tricky part is, some postdoc fellowship requires at least two recommendation letters, and this might be a problem for students who are only working with single supervisor. So it's better to maintain good relationship with the other faculty. Don't hate them in your department. If there are some other faculty, just have a casual relationship with them, talk to them, help them out in TA work. Means I used to do any kind of TA work that was given to me in CAC. Means you can ask any faculty there now. I used to do all sorts of TA duty assigned to me, whether it is from my supervisor or whether it is from department. That helps you in to learn, first of all, because you are doing something different than your PhD. And secondly, you maintain a good relationship, because it's all tricky part. And getting these recommendation letters is very important. And this is the package for a postdoc position that you should look for. Okay. So we can come back if you have any questions. Types of postdoc positions. So there are different types of postdoc positions. One is project based, funding already received by the host. So you will find in university web pages, this is the postdoc position for particular project, because the proposed your supervisor might be, or the host already secure funding from the international, from the funding agency, and they are looking for a uh, candidate for the postdoc. So these are called project based. These are very straightforward, very fast selection, because only supervisor and university needs to decide and scrutinize. So it may turn out fast. Only tricky part is, the supervisor may have someone already in the mind, the host. So that may be a tricky part, because while writing proposal itself, there may be some PhD student finishing the PhD, and he or she might be joining as a postdoc. So you have to be just look at the group who have worked on that kind of problem. So your study of the that entire research group will tell you from where this particular postdoc position is coming from. So you have to be a little bit smart on that. Then there are university postdocs. Means the university has the funding, like in IITs we have institutional postdoc fellowship. All universities have their university postdocs, and those are then selected through the university committee. Then again, you may have to contact some supervisor, make allow him to be your host, and that support letter may be required to apply. Then you have the international fellowship, that is individual fellowship, where those are international. You apply, you earn the fellowship, and there are two ways, two things. One type of application where a host is not required at the time of application, and some scholarship require host to be defined and support letter to be attached. And that you will, if you get particular fellowship, you will host it with this particular faculty in this university. And some are open, that you earn the fellowship and then contact the host and earn the uh, then join for that particular fellowship. So these are the different types of fellowship that I can see. And by looking at the advertisement, you can find out what kind of this postdoc position is, because the criteria of selection are different and competitiveness is also different, because project based positions might be very, very specific. Already topic is defined, and it may happen that your research area is exactly matching with what they are doing. So you may be directly get selected. International fellowships are very competitive, very open. Then you may the competitiveness is increased here in international fellowship. So these are the two different ends of this. So and these opportunities are diversified. I mean, this is what I'm telling from my experience, whatever knowledge I could collect. But there are various opportunities with different interests and different backgrounds. For example, in Scandinavia, there's something called industrial postdoc. That means you work with industry after PhD, and industry hosts you as a postdoc in university. In Scandinavia, industry academia works very closely, and these kind of industrial postdocs are also there in some particular applied applied fields. So uh, really, this is list, but not completely exhaustive. These are the postdocs in India, CSI, Nehru postdoc, and you might be aware of these, but I just listed. I will share this PPT, and various these fellowships are available in India. Those are also reputed. If you want to immediately start, so you can do one year postdoc here, then move to some other university out of India. But these are also reputed and good postdoc fellowship. Then these are some university postdocs there, that all these top ranking universities will have the university postdoc fellowship. Like University of Queensland will have, UC Berkeley will have, everyone have their own postdoc fellowship that they will yearly release, and you apply regularly. So uh, and again, these may be called as postdoc, or these may be called project associate, research associate, project scientist. All they mean is the person should have a PhD experience. So don't screen while searching. Search for all sorts of these kinds of terms that may have the meaning the same, that they are looking for the postdoc. Then these are the key reputed international postdoc fellowship, and you might have heard Marie Curie fellowship program, topmost, highly competitive, and it provides you a very good opportunity. Plus salary. Marie Curie salary is very, very high compared to average salaries in Europe. So if you get Marie Curie, it's a very highly paid scholarship. But money should not be a criteria when you choose postdoc. But if that is a concern, Marie Curie is highly paid. Then the JSPS, Japanese Society for the Promotion of Science, DAT fellowships are there. The one I received was SC Oersted. Now this is a form of Marie Curie plus. If Marie Curie has some funding, they will tie up with some university, And in Scandinavia, they have tied with 4 or 5 universities. For example, in DTU, there was already something called SC Oster postdoc fellowship. This was university fellowship. They clubbed this with Marie Curie and created a common pool to call it as a SC Oster postdoc fellowship program co-funded by Marie Curie. So it's combined application for Marie Curie plus SC Oster, so that the application processing becomes easy, and university will directly receive good candidates. And it has been running successfully, and many IIT students from IIT Bombay I know have received this fellowship. So it's also, again, it's Marie Curie, well reputed, well paid scholarship. Then there are Newton International Fellowship, and in Indian version it is Newton Bhabha International Fellowships. Fulbright, there is a Shastri Research Student Fellowship, which is Indo-Canadian version. Then SERB Overseas Postdoc Fellowship. So these are some, and there are list is very wide. Means I just listed out something, but it's a huge pool of postdoctoral fellowship available. You can and there are various platforms on which you can get the list, but again, try to be specific, and applying too many will not be useful. Better, I would suggest to find out the host. Contact a supervisor who can host you. Then he or she will tell you which kind of fellowship is open, and also you can plan for an international fellowship program like this. So be in touch with the supervisor as soon as you are prepared for the postdoctoral position. So how to approach supervisor and when? Okay. So the ideal thing is that ask your supervisor to write introduction. If you can able to please your supervisor to write maybe an email to some faculty from other university, that's ideal, because then the person gets more confident, because it's already like a testimony, like a recommendation, where the supervisor is proposing the candidate to go to abroad. But then again, it may happen that you want to contact too many people, and your supervisor may not have that much time. So the second way also works. In my case, I wrote myself to many people in various universities, again by screening them, and write to your. So first I contacted this supervisor in Technical University of Denmark. Then we agreed, okay, we will find out the suitable opportunity. Then we decided to go for Marie Curie application, and then we wrote a proposal, and then I got selected. So just people are very open. Don't be hesitant to write. Actually, people are looking for postdocs. So you write by yourself, and with a good cover letter, exactly defining what is your research area, how you have contributed. Uh, that that is the way. Develop contacts in the conferences, because conferences gives you a good opportunity. Just talk to the people, get a sense of what kind of a person is, and that will help you out in the uh, finding out more opportunities, and host to have postdoc position. An ideal time is to do this after submission of thesis. Means you, because you have the submission thesis submitted, that means definitely you will be soon, in 3 to 6 months you will be passing out. uh, that's the ideal time, and by that time you should have at least one publication, so that will demonstrate your research. uh, so if you don't have any, it's going to come in 3 4 months, wait for that, because that is very essential. If some publication is going to come in 1 or 2 months, just wait for that. So that is the time period I would suggest to contact for postdoc position, because the person will be evaluated just only based on this publication record. Okay, that will tell a lot about your work than writing many other things. So finally, requirements to apply for the post of assistant professor in the IITs and NITs, because you may not require to have postdoc if you are moving from one IIT to another IIT. Postdoc is required if you are moving in the same IIT. Okay, So, but ideally, if you have a postdoc, there are other benefits that I will discuss. But what typically the selection committees look in the candidate for faculty position are, there are some essentials and there are some desirables. Good academic record, at least first class throughout all the degrees. That is first screening criteria. Good track record of publication from PhD and postdoc, first author publications coming out of your PhD and postdoc. Because if you are, see, another part is that you might have done the postdoc, but if publication is not coming, then it may work out oppositely. Okay, but so if you're getting some position in IIT based on your PhD, is better to consider, because postdoc is, again, you will work, and if your publications are stuck, then people, it's very difficult to judge what you have done in postdoc then. Okay, so it's a very tricky situation. The third most criteria is you should able to explain your research. That's another very important. Whatever seminar, faculty seminars candidates are called for, means I have seen people having 30-40 publications and they got rejected for the faculty positions. Too many publications also doesn't help. What is essential is defining your niche area, explaining it properly, and presenting it in a well manner. That comes to good teaching skills, and you have a great opportunity as a TA. So jump on it. You have to do your TA job. If you get involved more rigorously, it is helpful for you. Entire my teaching skills were basically developed during TA-ship only. So you have to be very uh, uh, jump on these opportunities of TA-ship. That will help you in throughout your career. And then strong recommendation letters from PhD and postdoc supervisor or collaborators, because it is for faculty position you have to have 3 recommendation letters, and to get them, yeah, really, your post PhD supervisor, postdoc supervisor, collaborator can write, and you can so that should clearly mention why you are suitable candidate for the faculty position considered. Desirable is international experience, because in particularly in some IITs, international experience is valued more. So you can, if you have international experience, then the reason is you get to know the culture of setup of different universities, how people work, and the idea is to bring that culture, good part of that culture here in institutions that we are working here. That's why this experience is valued, and that also proves that you can work with diverse set of people, and you are you can manage with different situations. And if you have a proven collaboration that you have initiated and that is successful, that is desirable, not essential, because in all fields you may not have that that is happening. But these are some desirables and essentials that you can keep in mind. And in if you want to apply in the same IIT, there is a 3 year schooling of period. That may, for example, I applied only in IIT Bombay because my wife works in state government here. So for me, 3 years schooling of period applied. So I went for a postdoc and then came back. So you can plan accordingly which IIT you want to go for, and where to go for, or which institution you want to go for postdoc, whether to do postdoc. If you have good PhD publications, I would suggest you to directly go for faculty position in the current scenario, because postdoc positions are getting very uh, 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 competitive. And in again, after this COVID situation coming 1 or 2 year, it's very difficult to define how much research funding is going to be available to the different places. So if you are getting good publications, better to try for faculty position. But again, this is very based on very limited experience that I have, but you can think on your own. Finally, to conclude, I would talk about entrepreneurship in the civil and environmental sector, because that's my background, so I can talk only on this. See, this is very good opportunity again, because everyone will not able to successfully get into a good academic institution, and there are a number of opportunities in this particular sector where you can jump in. But before doing any entrepreneurship, first have 2-3 years of experience, because if you are directly jumping and if you do not have any experience in hand with industry, you may basically struggle a lot. Rather have 2 3 years of experience, develop contacts in industry, see how what is the language of industry, because every field has its own language and speed. So understand what industry requires, how fast they require things, what are their benchmarks. So 2 3 years of experience you take, and then you open up your startup or your company. That's what I would recommend, because again the full-time jobs are not valued in the industry. If you join some consulting or some company, they will not value your PhD. They will think you will keep overthinking about the problem. That's the uh, problem they may see. And a lot of my friends who tried in industry are not initially paid well, because so think that you are not done PhD, just after your masters you are doing a job. Initial 2 to 5 years you may be paid less, but as soon as you gain with the industry, you will be promoted very fast. So don't get disappointed if you're getting lesser salary in the initial years. Okay, that happens to everyone, and don't be shy about it. Learn what industry wants, and I will tell you your qualification, because every consulting company in get the assignment based on the qualification of the staff. So if you have a PhD, you will be the top of the team in 5 to 10 years. So don't worry later. Uh, First, take the opportunity in industry if you want to do a career, and there is a huge scope for freelancing. Uh, Freelancing means you work with multiple consultants. You just create a nice LinkedIn profile, put it on there, saying that you're available for consulting, and you have writing school, good writing skill. That so industry do not have that much good writing skill. You have good writing skill, so you can be a freelancer for writing their reports, writing their appraisals, whatever of any project that they want to display. So just be open on the LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a very good platform for the professionals. So there is a huge scope for freelancing. Means after my PhD, I worked as freelancer for some time, and then with the consulting company, it works. And some companies allow you to be freelancer as well. Or there is, if you're in a private, they cannot control you. So in the evening time, you can be a freelancer, and so you will learn more in this mode. Keep a visiting position at university, okay, and also consulting companies. So that model also works. Many people on campus you will find they are adjunct faculty, and they have their own consulting firm as well. That model is also, I think, satisfying. You don't have to be full time in academia. So it depends on lot many things. Have a type with supervisor, so that your supervisor, because we get a lot of, at least in our discipline, we get a lot of requests for consulting which we are not interested, because those are mainly routine, some audit type, some sampling type, that we will pass on to our contacts. So if you are a student, then it's very easy for us to send it to you. And leveraging on Sign. So Sign is a really good opportunity, because you get an office in Sign in IIT Bombay campus, that helps you to create a brand. And many students in this sector, particularly civil environmental, I have seen have been successful through Sign. So I think I conclude here, and if there are questions, we can have a more open discussion. Hope this was useful. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So we'll move to next question answer session. So I will request all the participants. We will take two type of, like, both from chat box as well as raise hand. So yeah. So I will take one by one. Okay. Yeah. You can, Paresh, you can ask the question.
Hi, sir. This is Paresh.
Yeah.
I at Sitara. I
Yeah.
have a question that if one has to move from, or if one is planning to do research, postdoc research in an area which is different from their core area during their PhD research,
Mm-hmm.
which can happen, especially if you're in an interdisciplinary research area. Say you're working in
Yeah.
a core area, you do policy studies, etc. How will that be different from going from one, I mean, continuing your research as an independent researcher instead of being supported?
I would means it's good for Sitara CU's kind of centers, okay, but it may not work good in other core disciplines. because you have to define what is your research area. Okay. So I forgot one thing. Good question, Paresh. I forgot to mention one thing. In your faculty position, you have to define your research area, and when you apply, see that there is no other faculty with whom your research area is overlapping. Because if that happens, then basically chances of getting in that department is lesser, because why department will have, or a small department or a center will hire you for that particular research area when already one or two faculties are pursuing that research. So for interdisciplinary centers like Sitara, it is advisable. You can move on to other topic, because see, you have some skill set that you want to apply. You might have worked on water right now, and you want to work on a solid waste management in your postdoc. That is absolutely fine for a very for Sitara or CU's kind of center. But for others, it might be not be advisable. I would stick to define what you are in terms of research in your PhD and postdoc. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Avilasa, you can ask.
Hello, sir. This is Abhilaksha Maheshwari from Chemical Engineering Department. I have one question that given the current pandemic situations, and so if I'm interested for industrial research after my PhD, then what are your thoughts, like how we can go, because industries are currently now not taking up any things for research in this situation. Even they are moving out their current employees. So how we can do for, should we wait for some time if we want to go in industrial R&D, or what to do in such situation?
So industrial R&D may cease after this, particularly because of this pandemic situation. So it's better to wait, because right now it's but in some area it may open up new opportunities, but for some areas it may close down. It's very difficult to define how industry will respond to it. We are not really able to know how much it is economically damaged, and how resilient our economy, how much time it will take. In 2-3 months, everybody may forget about this. We do not know how much damage. So just take a stock of things in 6 months, and so don't be in a hurry. And I tell you that it doesn't matter how much, if there is a little bit gap in pursuing your postdoc or further research. Means I did my PhD. I left IIT Bombay campus in July 2012. I went to VJTI as a contractual faculty, just because I was wanted to have a break. So I just went out until thesis is submitted. 6 months passed. Thesis submitted. Then again I work as a consultant from January 2013. In August 2013, I defended my PhD. I continue in a consulting company and then in between I then started trying for postdoc. So there is a time. So even if you get some kind of decent job, I think it's better to join, because that will add to your experience. Don't wait for a very exact opportunity. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. And can you also, actually, I'm working in the area of water. So can you name out some companies like for freelancing that you know? Or,
can you check the LinkedIn or write to me separately? Okay, I will reply to you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Prakash, you can ask the question.
Hi, Professor. A very good talk. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My question is that when you had your postdoc in Europe, did you also get opportunity to teach courses to undergrads or postgrads? How does it work in Europe vis-a-vis in States?
Yeah. So there, basically, I taught in master's course because it was ours was, again, I was in Department of Management Engineering. It's a very quite interdisciplinary department, and it was offering electives to the institute. So I helped my supervisor to teach one of the course based on our research area. And so they will define the module, and there, as I told, if you are they will just assign you the module you have to develop and deliver. Supervisor will not come to the class. It's your responsibility. You are almost like a supervisor, your teacher for the class for that particular period of time. And they do involve postdocs in the teaching. And again, in Scandinavia, it's very different. I tell you, they hire you directly after PhD as a teaching faculty. There is a difference. There are very different system, academic system in Europe. There is called something called full-time faculty. There is something called teaching faculty. The system is very different. So you cannot compare. So their experience, they will call someone as fresh PhD as associate professor of teaching. Now here in IIT, to become associate professor, you take a lot of time and a lot of rigorous scrutiny happens. In Scandinavia, after PhD, they will directly hire. They can directly hire you as associate professor of teaching. That what does it mean is very difficult to translate in Indian system. Okay.
So there's less research if you take one.
Yeah. There's a less research, and you are like a lecturer.
I see.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question. So basically, there is a sort of three things that you end up doing: teaching, research, and consultancy. I get it that there is very little to no consultancy as a postdoc. How does it change the amount of time that you personally spend on these three things from being a postdoc to being a professor? So what is the split personally for you? I understand there's a lot of leeway there, but how has it been for you? What percentage of times do you spend on these three things?
So see, it varies a lot between a person to person.
Naturally.
Yeah, but consulting time is very less. Means around 10 to 20% time, and there are guidelines in IITs how much time you can spend. So it's a weekly 1 day you can spend, and that is on Saturday. That is the guideline that you can spend on the consulting. Okay. So and again in consulting, you have to take consulting which are where industry cannot solve the problem. It has to be some innovative method or approach. Then only you take up that consulting or vetting or verifying, that kind of work we take up. But very less time, around 10 to 15% you can say. But during postdoc, there is no consulting from the institute, but maybe you can do it on your own. As I said, LinkedIn is a great platform to take freelancing. And in Europe, if you are in Europe, you can take up some consulting through LinkedIn.
How about teaching and research?
Teaching and research. First, when you join as a faculty, your time for teaching will be very high because you have to prepare new material, new courses. You have to learn something, grading, evaluation, administrative processes. So a lot of time goes in first 2-3 years until you establish. Once you establish your courses, then you get more free hand on the other things. So a lot of time for teaching. And I spent my in postdoc some time to prepare for teaching as well. I don't know whether I was going to be selected, but I don't know. Some slides I've already prepared for teaching, course development. That is good when you have some spare time.
Right, I understand. And at the same time, it's also important to publish papers when you are just joining a faculty position. So. Right, thank you.
Okay, Nadim, could you please ask the question?
Yes, thank you, Professor, and thank you, RSF. So my question is, I'm a first-year student at the PhD at Chemical Engineering Department, IIT Bombay. So my question is, without wasting time, how to move in the right direction to get the right future in the PhD, after PhD, or to get a good postdoc in the out of country.
Without wasting time means
what are the skills that we can develop as a first year student, so to get the right future after PhD.
It's writing skill. I tell you, the most important factor is how good you are in scientific writing, because a lot of time I see, especially in our in IITs, we face a lot of problem with the writing. Means even myself had a difficulty in writing, so our supervisor has to spend a lot of time in teaching you writing skills. So once you are good with the writing skills, other ideas will emerge as soon as possible. You can write it down. So develop your writing skills, practice it, sit with your supervisor, help. I tell you, help your supervisor in writing proposals, writing other things. That way you will get some learning.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, so now I'll ask question from chat box, which question like they have asked,
Yeah.
participants have asked. So the question is that is there any site, like single site, where these all these advertisement regarding these postdoctoral fellowship and all these things are mentioned?
Is there any?
Website like for advertisement.
Uh,
So the yeah.
I used to
Are you
follow
getting the
some.
question?
Yeah. I used to follow some forums, but I don't remember now really. It was almost 5 years before. But there are really good collection of postdoc position, and also there are sectoral also. For example, there is something called Association for Environmental Engineers and Professionals, ASEEP or something, which used to post a lot of good postdoc position on their association website. So some association websites are also there, and there are some bundled uh, list of postdoc positions. But I don't have really recommendation for one site because there are too many of them.
Okay. Yeah. So next question was that does it matter to do postdoc or from Europe or US? Like, does the country matter?
No, it doesn't matter. What matters is who is your supervisor, which is your university, and what you have done in your postdoc.
Okay. And one more question, that what is the scenario of faculty positions at new IITs without postdoc, specifically in electrical engineering area?
Sorry, for that particular discipline, I cannot tell because I do not follow that particular discipline. But in new IITs, yes, fresh PhDs from IIT like IIT Bombay will be welcome. They will hire you. But I do not know any scenario about electrical engineering. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So one more question, that whether like PhD like TA or TAP matters while applying for faculty positions after postdoc or postdoc?
So it matters to some extent whether you were admitted through TA-ship. That is checked definitely. But if you are in a project also, and if you have good publications, then that may not be a big concern. But definitely, if you are in a TA, because TAs are selected through a competitive process in IITs, so that is one of the added criteria. So, but not as I tell. If you are a, but you can. I have seen faculty who have done a PhD as a on a project position and still could able to become faculty, because that depends on how much good you are a researcher. So,
Okay. Yeah. So one more question. Does MTech research also matters?
MTech research really doesn't matter. If you have a publication from MTech research, it's good. It may be counted, but it's not at all essential.
Okay. Yeah, so it's similar question that if someone has good publication from masters, whether it will be counted for postdoc opportunities.
Yeah, it will be for postdoc. It will be counted. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I will take 1-2 rapid question, then I will wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one more question: what is there anything called industrial PhD?
A industrial PhD is there in Europe. And tell you in Scandinavia, it's highly recommended. Means I tell you in Denmark in DTU, they value industrial experience in such a way that they paid a air ticket to a person working in Delhi in industry for 10 years to just appear for the interview. That much industry experience they value, because they want to develop some technology, and that model really IIT should adopt, because they value it so much, and they will do directly applied research. there is in Scandinavia, it's very widely adopted model, something called industrial PhD and industrial postdoc. Okay. Hello, Yadupati. Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
I
yes,
think,
sir. Can you hear?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is one question from live question. So Sarmila, can you ask the question?
Yes, sir. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you for your insightful talk. So, my question is, I'm a fifth year PhD student in chemical engineering department. So, like, can you comment on the procedure how to apply for a industrial postdoc in India or abroad?
Industrial postdocs are basically posted on the university websites, specifically in Scandinavia. Okay, so and but I don't know whether those are open from some other portals, and through these university web pages only you have to find out these positions. There is no other way to find out this industrial postdoc positions. Or how it works out in Scandinavia, that person is already there, and during PhD they have some contact with industry, and then industry decide to fund the person as a industrial postdoc. It may work in that way, because industry has to trust the person to invest.
So, sir, and any such scheme in India, is it there?
I'm not aware but I think there was a discussion about it. I don't know whether they have started this industrial postdoc or not. There was a discussion to start industrial postdoc in IITs.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. I think there is no more question. Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
So
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
Sir, just now one person mentioned about industrial postdoc in India. So, if IIT, if I am belonging to IIT Bombay and I want to apply, if IIT Bombay have an industrial postdoc, is it possible? As IIT won't allow immediately faculty position in IIT.
For postdoc, the same criteria applies in IIT, especially old IITs maintain the schooling off period for postdoc as well.
Okay.
Just
So
to
it will be industrial.
It might be open for industrial postdoc, but I think it's not defined yet policy. But as a RSF, you can write to IIT administration actually to start industrial postdoc.
okay, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think there is no more question. So because there are questions, but we have to be time constraints. So I think we will stop here. So thank you very much, sir, and for the wonderful and detailed talk. And I also thank all the participants who have been there. So yeah, so our next speaker is Professor Ishwar Rajasekaran from Department of Civil Engineering on 18. This is for your information, and I want to again thank the speaker for the nice and wonderful talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll finish it here and see you in the next talk. Stay safe. Take care.